So the lion slept with eyes open, and the jungle couldn't understand. One day, after a long and lazy siesta, the sun high in the sky and the heat almost unbearable, our hero lion awoke from his nap. Stretching lazily, he yawned widely, showing the rows of deadly weapons inside his mouth. He shook his magnificent mane, dark against the bright blue sky, and then took off towards the waterhole. All the animals watched him go. They knew the lion had just come from his daytime nap, and they also knew that after drinking some water, he would return to his afternoon nap. For lions are creatures of habit, and most animals respect their space when the king takes his siestas, but today was not like other days. Today, something was different. After drinking his fill, instead of returning to his favorite sleeping tree, the lion started pacing restlessly. His ears were swiveling from left to right, and his tail was lashing back and forth, back and forth. What was the lion afraid of? How could such a powerful beast be afraid of anything? Yet he paced on, moving further and further away from the familiar territory around the watering hole. The animals watched him go, and many wondered what was troubling the mighty lion. Meanwhile, somewhere far from the watering hole, hidden amongst the tall trees of the deep jungle, a family of baboons was busy feasting on sweet mangoes. There were several adults and 3 naughty little baboon babies, playing and tumbling on the ground. They were having the time of their lives, completely unaware that they were being watched by an angry lion. After a while, the lion stopped his restless pacing and sat down on a nearby branch overlooking the baboons. Slowly, he crouched down and got ready to pounce. This was not the first time that he had tried to catch a baboon, but so far, thanks to their agility and climbing skills, the baboons had managed to escape his clutches. But this time, the tables would turn. In a flash, the lion was on top of the unsuspecting baboons. The adult baboons screamed in terror and tried to flee, but it was too late. The lion was upon them. With swift and powerful movements, he caught one of the baboons in his mouth and disappeared into the tall grasses. As the other baboons fled, the lion dragged his prey deeper into the jungle. The other animals watched the entire episode with mixed feelings of admiration and fear. They knew that one day, they, too, might become the lion's prey. That was the circle of life. But for now, it was the baboons who had been caught off guard. The lion had made sure of that. Now, in the deep jungle, hidden from the view of the other animals, the lion began to devour his prey. It was a brutal and bloody affair, but the lion didn't seem to care. He was hungry, and he wasn't going to waste time being polite. He tore into the baboon, ripping chunks of flesh from its body and swallowing it whole. Meanwhile, somewhere deep in the forest, the hyenas were having a midnight feast. They had managed to find a freshly killed zebra and were busy tearing into it. Suddenly, one of the hyenas noticed the lion approaching them. She stopped eating and turned to face the lion. The other hyenas followed her gaze and did the same. They all stared at each other for a moment, and the tension was palpable. Finally, the hyena that had spoken first broke the silence. "What do you want?" she asked. The lion didn't answer. Instead, he kept staring at the carcass of the zebra. The hyenas knew what he was after, and they weren't going to give up their food without a fight. A fierce argument ensued, and the forest echoed with the sounds of growling and snarling. But the lion stood his ground. He knew that he needed this food, and he wasn't going to let the hyenas bully him into giving up. After a few minutes of arguing, the hyenas finally gave in. They knew that they were outnumbered, and they didn't want to risk getting into a fight with the lion. So they let him have the zebra. The lion didn't waste any time. He began eating the zebra right away, and he ate until he was full. Then, satisfied with his meal, he lay down on the ground and fell asleep. But he didn't sleep for long. In the middle of the night, he was awoken by a strange noise. It was a low growl, and it seemed to be coming from all around him. The lion opened his eyes and began to growl back. He was ready to fight if he had to, but he knew that his strength was no match for the hyenas. He was outnumbered, and they were vicious and cunning opponents. So he decided to run, and as he ran, he could hear the hyenas laughing behind him. They were enjoying the chase, and they knew that the lion was exhausted. They thought that they had him cornered, but they didn't know how wrong they were. The lion ran as fast as he could, and soon he was out of breath. He could feel the hyenas gaining on him, and he knew that he had to do something to get rid of them. So he did the only thing he could think of. He climbed up a tree. The hyenas skidded to a halt when they saw the lion in the tree. They couldn't believe that he had managed to escape them, but there he was, sitting safely in the branches. The hyenas were furious, and they began to circle the tree, looking for a way to get at the lion. But there was no way, and the tree was too tall, and the hyenas couldn't climb it, so they had to retreat. The lion watched them go, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. He had managed to outsmart the hyenas, and he had done it without even hurting them. He had used his wits, and that was a rare feat indeed, but his victory was short-lived. As soon as the hyenas were out of sight, the lion began to shake. He was shivering uncontrollably, and he was afraid of what might happen next. He knew that the hyenas would be back, and he knew that he couldn't defeat them in a fight. So he decided to run away. He jumped down from the tree and ran as fast as he could. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew that he had to get away from the hyenas. As he ran, he could hear their laughter echoing behind him. They were enjoying the chase, and they knew that they had him cornered. The lion ran until he couldn't run anymore. He collapsed on the ground, and he could feel the hyenas closing in on him. He knew that it was over, but just as the hyenas were about to pounce, the lion did something that surprised them all. He closed his eyes. The hyenas skidded to a halt. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The lion was giving up. He was surrendering. The hyenas hesitated for a moment, and during that moment, the lion gathered all his strength and lunged at the nearest hyena. The hyena yelped in surprise and backed away. The lion was on his feet now, and he was growling fiercely. The other hyenas joined the fray, and soon the forest was filled with the sounds of growling and snarling. The lion fought bravely, but he was outnumbered, and he knew that he couldn't win. He was exhausted and injured, and the hyenas were vicious. It was only a matter of time before he would be overwhelmed. But just as the hyenas were about to capture him, something amazing happened. The lion stood up on his hind legs and roared. It was the most ferocious roar that the hyenas had ever heard. It was a roar that spoke of power and strength and courage. The hyenas were terrified. They had never seen a lion behave like this before. They had never heard such a powerful roar. They knew that they were facing a lion who was not afraid to die, and they didn't want to be on the receiving end of his wrath. So the hyenas scattered, and the lion stood there watching them go. He was wounded and exhausted, but he was free. For now, he had managed to escape the clutches of the hyenas, and he knew that he had to make use of his freedom. He limped away from the scene of the battle, and as he did, he noticed something strange. The moon had risen above the canopy. Silver light cut across the jungle floor, and there it was. The king of the forest, lying still. His mane glowed under the night sky. But something felt wrong. The lion did not roar, did not shift, did not breathe like it slept. Its body looked at rest, yet its eyes remained wide open, glimmering like burning coals. Predators paused in their tracks. Prey froze mid-step. In the jungle, nothing is more unsettling than a hunter who sleeps without closing its eyes. Was it weakness, a warning, or something none could understand? The camera drifts closer, capturing the slow rise and fall of its chest, the stillness of its paws, the shine of its unblinking gaze. Every detail feels heavy with mystery. A hyena creeps forward, teeth bared, convinced this is the chance it has waited for. One step, then another. The lion does not move. The hyena inches closer, saliva dripping, laughter stifled, and just as its paw touches the ground before the king, the lion's eyes shift, slow, deliberate, filled with fire. No growl, no roar, only a stare that freezes the intruder in place. Fear spreads faster than claws. The hyena bolts into the darkness, chased not by sound, but by silence sharper than any roar. Minutes stretch into hours. The jungle breathes around him. An owl circles above, unsure whether to call. The river whispers nearby, reflecting fragments of starlight. Other predators lurk in the shadows, watching, tempted, but none dare cross the invisible line drawn by eyes that refuse to close. A sleeping lion can be challenged. A lion that never closes its eyes is untouchable. The night deepens and curiosity grows heavier. Why does the lion refuse rest? Why does he watch the darkness instead of surrendering to it? The answer comes slowly as a faint cry drifts through the trees, a cub's call, distant and trembling. His gaze shifts toward the sound. That is the truth. The lion guards, not for himself, but for something more fragile hidden in the shadows. He has chosen sleeplessness so others may sleep. The scene cuts wide. The cub tucked away beneath fallen branches, unaware of the eyes that never closed for its sake. The predators, waiting in silence, now understand. They are not staring at weakness, but at devotion carved into every unblinking glance. Power is not just in the hunt, not only in the roar, but in the quiet sacrifice of a king who refuses to rest until safety is certain. As dawn bleeds into the horizon, light spills across the jungle. Finally, the lion's eyes close, heavy but calm, knowing his watch is over. The cub stirs, stretching into the new day, alive because someone stayed awake in the darkest hours. And so, the lesson remains for all who witness it. Strength is not only measured by battles won, but by the silent moments when you carry the weight for another. The lion slept with eyes open, and the jungle learned that true kings protect even in silence.